So this church has 100 walls. Each wall is of a different height and different width. And that was sort of the main design concept that we started with. Part of the reason we were interested in the idea of the walls was the walls represent, so you might say, the most elemental building block in the history of architecture. It defines how we've always made spaces. It's a very simple element, but a very sort of primary element. And the idea of using something that's so functional, giving it a spiritual meaning, in the case of a church, was to us a fascinating architectural idea. And, you know, we intentionally made each wall different as a sort of manifestation of the diversity of life and the reality that we all as individuals belong to one family, one species, but each person is different. It's like you sort of walk around the city and you see that we're all sort of common but yet different. And that notion that we're sort of belong to this natural field of commonality and difference was philosophically a big idea, or sort of one of the central key concepts in our design. Well, the construction of the church, or the construction of every church with 100 walls, you can imagine, has been quite challenging. There's on one hand a very basic issue of coordination and management. How do you keep track of all the 100 walls? How do you make sure that when you change one wall in one drawing, it corresponds to another? But also there was a question of, you know, when is it appropriate to make something tall and make something short, make something long and make something, you know, narrow? And we ultimately decided that it had to do with two things. On one hand, how you used space. So we took a lot of note and paid close attention to what the different uses in the church were. When you were using it, what spaces would be used more for ritual, what spaces would be used more for passage, what spaces would be used more as a space of contemplation in isolation, or a space of contemplation with a group. And all of these parameters informed how we moved and what kind of walls we used. The process of seeing something that you've designed come into fruition is truly incredible. It's hard to describe. It's like literally you design something, you have it in your mind, you draw it 100 times, you tweak it maybe 1,000 more times, and then gradually it starts to emerge from the ground. Right now the church itself is almost complete, and it's a truly an inspiring sight. I was just walking through the building this morning, and talking to the workers, and working with the engineers and the contractors, and there is professionally, I think from the point of view of an architect, nothing that comes close to that feeling. It's sort of probably the most fulfilling experience you can have. And the truth of the matter is, nothing emerges exactly as you planned it, as you envision it. There always are many changes, many points of accommodation, adjustments, adaptations, and working through it and designing on hand as these discoveries come to bear, or as you stumble upon them, is also part of the sort of professional joy.